joining us today on a Tuesday afternoon or evening for you in Dubai. My name is Annette. I'm from ISL in Germany. We are a language school and pathway provider, and we work together with GEMS in the UAE, which means you will have the special treatment of, having Lena and all the counselors being able to help you. And of course, you'll get a special rate as well. So I'm going to do a short presentation today. First on life in general in Germany as a student, afterwards the possibilities you have, then on the entry criteria, what criteria you need to fulfill to be able to join the university depending on the different curricula that you have. And then of course afterwards I will give you time for the questions. I'll try to keep the presentation short so that we have lots of time for all of your questions. So I'm trying to share my screen with you now. Okay, very good. So, as I said, I'm going to explain to you how to study in German public university. I think most of you know that the German public university is free of charge. It's totally free to everybody, not only for Germans, not only to Europeans, but to everybody. The reason for that, I will try to explain as soon as I can get this going. Uh-oh. I'm sorry, I cannot get to the next. Okay, we need to try this again. Okay, I just keep the slides open. It doesn't matter. The slideshow doesn't work when I have it open fully. Okay, so we'll try again. So first we start with some interesting facts about Germany. Most of you hopefully know Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel is our chancellor, so she's the head of the government. And it was her and her government that realized about 10, 15 years ago that Germany has a big problem. And the big problem is the decreasing population, because if you don't have enough young people that go into university, you don't have enough young people that come out of university and that help the economy to grow. So therefore, she started pushing this idea of bringing young qualified foreigners to Germany, let them go to university, let them get the same education here in Germany, also for free, and then, and this is special to Germany, let you stay here. So it's not that we are selling a product to you, i.e. a degree that you can buy and then you go again. No, you're welcome to stay here afterwards. I will look at the job opportunities in a few minutes, but just so that you understand, this is basically creating a win-win situation. Germany gains young people that can potentially work here. You get a wonderful education that's recognized worldwide for free. When we started doing this a few years ago, well, more than a few years ago, like 13 years ago, most of the people that wanted to come here only came for the engineering and only for the high-tech car industry. That has changed quite a bit now. And of course, business is equally important now, and also the biotech area. The biotech area has really boomed in the last few months since we had this whole COVID situation, because a lot of the German companies are working on medication, working on vaccination, so that has become very, very popular. I have the picture of the playground there because, as I said already, Germany likes you to stay and welcomes you to stay. You can get your permanent residence 2 years after you graduate. You can build your long-term future here. And then, of course, I have the photograph of the football and the beer, because football is probably the most popular sports in Germany. That does not mean that you can only play football. You will find everything here. Be that swimming or athletics or dancing or anything you want. You'll find a club of your choice, okay? And then, of course, you don't have to drink beer when you go to the beer garden. I don't drink that either. They have wonderful juices and milkshakes and everything as well. But you will find plenty of opportunity to mix with people and to connect with people. So, of course, there are lots of German companies that you know. There is something like all of the car factories, of course, be that Volkswagen or Audi or BMW, but you also have Siemens, Bosch, SAP, or Kuga for a robots company. And probably most of you have heard about BioNTech and all of those biotech companies that are working out there at the moment. These companies are not only in Germany, they are worldwide, which means if you have a German degree and if you can speak German, because this is your first step, then you will find a job either in Germany or outside of Germany with all of these companies. So Germany is, of course, a big country. And we are, as you can see, in Koblenz. This is where the red dot is here. It is in Rheinland-Pfalz. Rheinland-Pfalz is one of the states in Germany. And Koblenz is a nice small city. It has like 100,000 people, so you can walk everywhere, but it is still a city. I know compared to Dubai, it's tiny, but you have everything there that you need. So it's on the main train station, you have a theater, you have a cinema, you have a swimming pool, you have everything you need. It is also close to Frankfurt, which is the main international airport. So if you ever do want to travel back home or visiting some other countries or other friends in Europe, that will not be a problem. So why Germany? Germany is now actually amongst the top 3 destinations. And one of the main reasons is, of course, as I said already, because you have no fees for a highly recognized degree. We have more than 12% of the students are from outside of the EU already, which means you're not alone. You'll always find somebody from your own background. The label made in Germany, as you know it from cars or machines, is not only for goods, it's also for education. If you have a German degree, you'll find open doors wherever you want to go. We have over 18,500 degree courses that you can choose from. So you will definitely find something that is of interest to you and that you like. And on this point, I want to mention another speciality of Germany, which to me personally is actually one of the biggest advantages. If you want to study in the UK or the US or Malaysia or wherever, you sit down with your counselor, you look at 10, 15 different brochures, you look at some videos, you talk to other people that are there. But you have to decide back home in Dubai which university you want to go to and what you want to study, because you need to apply a long time beforehand to these universities and you need to pay a fee. In Germany, it's very different. We guarantee to you as well before you come that you have a place by giving you an admission, because you need that for the visa. And of course, you and your parents want to know that you are entitled to study here. But you have the unique opportunity during the German course, because you have to learn German first, to have a look at all of these different universities and the different courses. And you can decide when you're here in Germany, after you visited some universities and some lectures, what you want to study and where you want to study. So a lot of young people like you know, you don't really know what options there are. There are courses here in Germany that you will have never heard of because they are very unique to Germany. And you will get the opportunity to find out about them when you are here. And a lot of young people, of course, decide, oh, my father is a mechanical engineer, so I do that as well. And that is fine. We can get you an admission to mechanical engineering. And then when you are here, then you can decide if you want to do that or if you want to go something else. It has no tuition fee, I told you already. The living expenses are very affordable, one of the lowest in Europe. We have people from all over the world, and learning German as a new language, I know initially that sounds like a big hurdle to you and you think, oh, why should I do this when I can study in English? But you won't be alone. There is actually 185 million people on this planet that speak the language. And knowing an additional language, I know all of you have a lot of languages already, but knowing an additional language, a language of the fourth biggest exporter and one of the big economies in Germany, in the world, is very, very useful for you, whether you decide to stay here or go back home. So if you then look at it in Europe, then Germany is now actually #1, and that is taking into consideration the education, the life and career perspectives afterwards, and of course the cost of living, which is, as I said already, very, very low in Germany. So, and then when the government promotes something, they of course need to find out as well if it's working or not. So they did a survey to find out why are people coming to Germany. And of course, 35% come here because it has no tuition fee, which is fair. You know, if I have the choice to get a good education for free, why not? I would do exactly the same. 30% come here because it's high quality of education. Then, and this is really of interest to the Germans, almost 70% of the people come here with the idea of staying here. Maybe not forever, but certainly for a longer period of time. And that is, as I said, it's very easy here because we have a good economy, we have jobs that we need you for. It will be very easy for you to build your life and to integrate here. Of course, then you come to the question, why is there no tuition fee? Now, I told you that at the beginning already. The Germans have a decreasing population. The population is decreasing a lot. By 2030, the universities are expecting to have 30% less students than they had in 1990, which is a big drop, okay? Because that drop is not only in university, but also later on the job market. There are thousands and thousands of positions that are unfilled. And they are not just unfilled for a day or two, they are unfilled permanently. So that is the kind of the lack of workforce we have here. Okay, so the 40,000 something positions in the engineering section, those are open positions and they are open for months and months on end. The companies can't find anybody that wants to work there. And it's not only in the high-tech industry, in the engineering, it's the same everywhere. You ask any company here how they find it to find people, and they all tell you it's basically impossible because there is full employment here. And with full employment and nobody there to do the jobs, of course, it's difficult to keep the economy growing, which is why the German government has been pushing this and still is pushing this. And then just to give you an idea of how good the job situation is here, amongst all the university graduates, and that is engineers, business, medicine, biotech, but also people that study Greek mythology or Hindu literature or Inca religion or whatever. Yeah? The unemployment rate amongst all the graduates is only 2.5%, which is basically nothing. The average time to find a job, again, for all academics in the area of what you studied, not just any job, is 3.5 months, okay, which is very, very low. And of course, you'll have a good salary. An average starting salary for when you graduate is about 40,000 euro per month. For engineers, that's easily 10,000 more because that is the best paid section in Germany. And if you have a master, you can also add another 10,000. Now, on top of that, being in the German system, you of course have 30 days of paid holidays that you can take as you wish. You have all the bank holidays, the public holidays, which is another 10 days. You have mandatory health insurance where you pay according to what you earn and where all of your family is insured for free. So for example, your engineer that earns 10,000 euro a month pays more to the insurance than your shop assistant who probably only earns 2,000 euro a month. And your employer pays half of that as well. Also, you pay into the unemployment contributions. So when you do get unemployed and you're looking for a new job, you get 70% of your salary until you find another job. You also pay into the pension fund, which means when you turn 65 and you retire, you also get around 70% of your salary as a pension. So the graduates from the so-called universities of applied sciences, because the name says it, it's applied, yeah, will usually find it a little bit easier even than the people from the classical universities to find a job. Because at the end of your degree, you have to write a thesis. And if you go to one of these classical universities, then of course you do a very theoretical thesis. If you're on one of the universities of applied sciences, then you do that based on a project in a company. Then you have the contacts to the company already. And 2 years after you start working, you can get your permanent residency here. So that is just to give you an idea of how life in Germany is as a student and afterwards. Plenty of opportunities. So, and now we come to the most important piece. How do you get into university? And that is a little bit complicated in Dubai because you have a lot of different curricula. And I know that even in the GEMS community, you have A-levels, you have IB, you have Indian curriculum, you have American curriculum. So I'll start with the left-hand side for you, which is the longer way. That is basically the Indian curriculum or the UAE curriculum, but for the GEMS schools, it's basically the Indian curriculum. If you just have 12 years of education, then you qualify for German university under 2 conditions. The first one is to learn the language, which everybody has to do. And the second one is you must do a foundation year. The foundation year is almost like another year of secondary school. And at this point, you only need to decide into which area of study you want to go. So if you want to study engineering, you do a so-called T course, because T stands for Technik in Germany. So then you do mainly subjects like maths, physics, chemistry, and of course German. If you want to do something in the business area, be that business or economics or management, then you do a so-called W course. W stands for Wirtschaft, which means economy. So anything in the economics area, business area, you do the W course. And there you have, again, subjects like business, maths, economics, statistics, and of course, German as well. At the end of the foundation year, which takes 1 year, because your A-level students and the German students who don't have to do that also have 13 years of education. So it's just to bring everybody to the same standard. Then you can go to university. And as you can see here, you have initially 30 weeks to learn German and then 1 year to do your foundation year. So during all of this time, you can use that time to go and look around to see what you want to study. That is what I tried to explain at the beginning, that this is something very unique in Germany, that you have you are eligible. You can study whatever you want, yeah, with very few restricted subjects like medicine or psychology. All the subjects are totally open. So if you want to do engineering or business, there is no restriction. As long as you qualify, you will 100% get your seat, which is why you can decide later where you want to go. So German first, foundation year, then university. For the people that come out of the A-levels or the IB, if you have the right subjects, and I look at that later, then you fully qualify for direct entry. So the A-levels and the IB are equivalent to the German leaving certificate called Abitur, which means your school certificate qualifies you for German university. You are fully eligible to study and you only need to learn German. Okay, and you learn German up to a C1 level, which is what the other people will have at the end of the foundation year. So the C1 German level, which is about equivalent to an IELTS 5.5, is the final criteria that you need to take or that you need to fulfill to be able to study in German university. So first, your school certificate makes you eligible to study, and the German that you will learn with us makes you able to study, because life here in Germany happens in German only. The idea of this being everything absolute bilingual like you have in Dubai, that doesn't work here. everything here happens in German only. Yeah, so whether you want to take a train ride or go to the cinema or play football or have a job, everything happens in German only. And if you want to be able to work and integrate here, you need to learn German as a first step. On the other hand, if you do have the German and you have a German degree and your German company has two people, you and a German student to hire, and they would only have one position, then they would take you because you have more languages and you have cultural competence, which the Germans don't have. Your average German engineer is not able to speak English, but it's important, okay? So you will have a number of advantages over the Germans, and that makes you very, very attractive to the German companies. So before I look into the A-level and IB criteria, I just want to look at the German in a bit more detail. The levels are A1, A2, which is the basic or the beginner's levels. And that is something that you should seriously think about learning in Dubai. You all have a period between your exams and when you get your certificates. And before you have the certificates, you cannot apply to German university because they need to see that you passed. So yes, you have 100% guarantee to get it, but you still need to, in inverted commas, kill that time between your exam and the certificate. So that time you can use to learn a bit of German. The embassy in Dubai, where you will have to go to apply for your visa, wants you to know at least the A1 level. A1 level is not much. You are able to explain who you are, where you come from, your age, if you have brothers and sisters and something like that, okay? But it will also make life easier for you when you arrive here. Imagine you're away from home for the first time alone and you're in a country and everybody speaks a language that you don't have any idea about. That makes it a bit difficult, yeah? So learning the A1 at home will help in many respects. The A1 you can either learn with a language school in Dubai. I know that some of the schools even offer it now, or you can learn it online with us. As of the B level, which is an intermediate level, the B1, you should really be in Germany. First of all, you need the exposure to the language, you need the practice, but also you need this time to shop around for the right university. Okay, so B1 and B2, all of you will do in Germany. Then after that, the people that come out of the Indian curriculum, for example, would go to the Studienkolleg, foundation year, and people that have A level who have a direct entry means without foundation year, they would continue another 10 weeks for the C1 level. And then once you are finished with the C1, then you can start your university. Okay, so what criteria do you need to fulfill for the A levels? Basically, you need 4 subjects. You need maths, you need a science, you need a language, and you need one other subject. The one other subject is recommended to be in the area of what you want to study. So if you want to study engineering, take another science. If you want to study business, take business. It's not a must, but it will make your life easier if you know a bit more in that area. Okay, so now the A levels have a big advantage, and that means it's relatively easy to get into the university because all you need to do is pass the A levels. Nobody cares about the grades. The disadvantage is you must have all of these subjects. So if you don't have the language, at least at an AS level, you cannot study in Germany. The maths, the science, the language is a must. Good thing is that there's a British Council in Dubai. So if your school doesn't facilitate for you to do maths, science, and a language for timetable reasons, or just because you didn't feel like it, or you didn't think about it, or whatever, you can go to the British Council and you can do it there. Therefore, you fully qualified to enter German university. So then we have similar criteria for the IB. In the IB diploma, you need to have your 6 subjects. So the language, the second language, or I have a spelling mistake there, sorry. The social science, the natural science, maths, and 1 other subject again. 3 of them must be at higher level, 3 of them can be at standard level. You need to have 24 points, so 4 points in each subject. You can, if you only have 3 in one, you can compensate with 6 in another one, or 5 in another one. The good thing about the IB requirement is if you don't fulfill all of those criteria, then you have the option of doing the foundation year. Because there is no option like for the English or for the AS levels, for the A levels with the British Council, there is nothing similar for the IB. So if you don't fulfill all of those criteria, you will have to do the foundation year. So for all of the other curricula, which is mainly the Indians, the embassy likes to see 70%. Now, this is not a must. If people are very good in maths and physics and they want to study engineering, but they don't have the 70% because they didn't really like English and history, you will still get your visa. If the other way around, you want to study engineering and you just barely passed maths and physics, but you're brilliant in English and history and sociology, then you're probably not going to get the visa. Yeah. So this is a rather flexible process. Okay. Okay. So then I will quickly mention the master here. I know that none of you is at the master level, but I want to mention it for the following reason. If you do a master abroad and you only want to come to Germany to do a master, you must have 75% in your bachelor. This 75% criteria only applies to people that do their bachelor outside of Germany. So what I'm trying to say here is that it's a lot easier if you do your bachelor in Germany as well, because then you only need to pass your bachelor to be eligible to do a master. If you want to stay at home a bit longer and you want to do your bachelor at home or in another country, you must have 75% in your bachelor to qualify for the master. So it's a lot easier if you come straight away after school and do the bachelor here as well. So then usually we have some people who are interested in the restricted subjects as well. That is mainly medicine, but also dentistry, psychology, law, and so on. Those places have a limited seat, unlike the engineering and the business where everybody will get a seat. Those seats are limited. That means for those subjects, you cannot get a guaranteed admission before you come to Germany. So you will have to take an admission because you need to show to the embassy that you're eligible to study in a related subject. A typical one for medicine would be biotechnology. So you get an admission for biotechnology, you get your visa, you come to Germany, you complete your German course, and if necessary, the foundation year, and only then you can apply. You will only get a seat in those subjects if you're really, really good. And with really, really good, I'm talking about 96, 97% or more. And you need that in your school certificate, in your German course, because imagine a doctor wanting to work in Germany who only has intermediate level of German. That won't work. Yeah? Then maybe you mix up left and right and you operate on the wrong leg or something. So the German also has to be passed at a much higher level. And if you have to do the foundation year, then you also must pass that at a very high level. Only after that, after the German course, after the foundation year, you can apply. Therefore, once you are in the medicine, the dropout rate is extremely low. I know in other European countries, they take everybody for the first year, but then they have a dropout rate after the first year of over 50%. So once you make it into the German university for these subjects, then you're fine. Then you're basically in there for good. If you are interested in doing medicine or dentistry or any of those, get in contact with me through Lena or with me directly, and then I can explain that to you in more detail. So then the other things that you need to apply for the visa is, of course, a place to stay. We have fully furnished, fully equipped apartments. The boys and the girls are, of course, separate. You can have single rooms, you can have shared rooms. They have everything there, from bed linen to towels, a bed, a wardrobe, in the kitchen, a washing machine, a fridge, a cooker, pots, plates, and so on, okay? They are all in walking distance. You do your own cooking. It's like wonderful, because we try to mix the nationalities. And when you come into those apartments, you know, the young girls, the young people like you always find a reason for a party. Be that somebody's birthday or Chinese New Year or somebody finishing the exam, or there is always something, yeah? So they do a lot of international cooking together, and you learn a lot about other cultures there as well. So, and then the last thing that you need to get a visa is a so-called block account. The only real obstacle in all of this is that you are not allowed to work in the first year in Germany, which means you can work part-time 20 hours a week when you go to university, no problem at all. And it's very easy to earn your own living then. But for the first year when you're learning German, you're not allowed to work, which means you must have a block account. You must have 10,330 euro in that block account. Every month you can take 861 out of it to pay your rent, your food, your clothes, your party, your telephone, your public transport, whatever you want, okay? So it's not enough for the German government that your parents have that money in an account in the UAE, because if they go and buy a new Ferrari, then the German government or you have no access to that money. Therefore, that money must be in Germany in an account in your name, but it's also safe for your parents, because you cannot take all the 10,000 out either in the first month and buy a new Rolex. Every month you can only take the 861 out of it. So it's safe for the German government because they know that you have money to live off. It's also safe for your parents because they know that you can't spend everything in one go. This is a requirement for the visa, the same way as you need to have an admission letter to the university, an admission letter to the German course, and of course, health insurance. The health insurance is very cheap in Germany for students. You only pay 550 euro for a full year, and that is full health insurance, which means if you go to a doctor, to the dentist or the hospital, everything is covered. You just show the doctor your insurance card, the doctor sends the bill to the insurance. So there's no need for you to pay in cash or something to be treated. It also has a full cover accident and liability insurance. Liability insurance is one of the most important insurances in Germany. For example, you are renting an apartment. You cook for your party, you forget to turn off the cooker, and you go out to play football. The house goes up on fire. Okay, only damage. But if somebody is in that house and gets seriously injured, then you are liable for all the damage. You are liable for the house, which can be repaired, but you're also liable for personal damage, which is covered by this liability insurance, yeah? So if something happens by accident, like not deliberately, or you go and play football and you break somebody's window, yeah, that is all covered by liability insurance, which is why you need to have a full cover insurance. Okay, so looking at it step by step again. If you're interested, you send me your documents. I tell you if you're eligible or not, and if you're eligible with foundation year or without. Then we get you the conditional admission from the university and you start learning German. Then you open your block account, you apply for the visa, you come to Germany and you continue learning German either up to the B1, the B2 if you need to do the foundation year, or the C1 if you get direct entry. Then you decide on the university, and my student counselors will sit down with you, talk to you about it, make suggestions, and also do the registration with you. So every year We have about 250 students that come to us. We start new courses every 5 weeks because the level takes 5 weeks. So whenever you have the visa, you can come and you can travel. And the 250 students that come to us, they all make their way into university. So I'm very sure that you can be one of them as well, finding your way to Germany and to university. That was my presentation on studying in Germany. I will try to stop this now. Yes, and we will look at your questions. So I'll start from the top here. So direct entry. Okay. The direct entry was when you don't need to do the foundation year. That was basically for people who have A-levels or IB, or if you have studied already, but that doesn't really apply to you yet. Okay. So somebody has finished A-levels and you already know German. Okay, good. If somebody knows German already but doesn't have a German school qualification, like in your case, you would unfortunately still need to do the German exam. Yeah, so we should have a short conversation at some stage and see what level you have. And then maybe you just join the course for 5 weeks or 10 weeks to get an idea of what the exam will be about. Yeah, because if you don't have a German school leaving certificate, then you must sit the German exam. If you do German A-level, am I eligible for it? Okay, the German A-level, it depends on how many years you have. All of the A-level students that had German in school so far, the highest level I've had was B1, B2 borderline, yeah. Unless you really started at very, very early age, it's unlikely that you have a C1 level. But of course, the German A level counts as a qualification. Yeah. So if you have a B1 level, we have lots of students coming next month who had German at school. They're not from Dubai, they're from Malaysia, but it's the same system. They all had German at school and they all have a B1 level. Then of course, they only need to do B2 and C1 then. What about for science? Sorry, that question is not really clear to me. If you want to study science, yeah, then as I said, if you are from A level, it would be good if you have maths, a language, and 2 sciences. If you are from Indian curriculum, for example, then you have to do the T course at the foundation year. Psychology does not count as a natural science. That could only be the additional subject, okay? So somebody is doing 3 A-levels, physics, maths, and chemistry. That is, of course, okay, but you still need the language. So if you can't do that in your school anymore, then you would need to do that with the British Council. Since you're only doing A-levels at the moment, you can easily do English AS level in May with the British Council, and then you will have all of the requirements finished and done by the summer next year when you have your certificate as well. Okay. You can, of course, contact me. Yes, I'll send you my email in a minute. So once I finish my A-levels, I come to you with the documents and you have to see if you're eligible. Yes, for A-levels, it's very simple. Yeah, as I said, as long as you fulfill the 4 subject criteria, then you only need to pass. So it's relatively simple. Would you suggest I take foundation year or complete my A-levels? Maybe you joined a bit later. It's not what I would suggest. There is only one option. If you are out of the British curriculum, you have no choice but to finish your A-levels. It is not an option to stop after O-levels or AS and do the foundation year instead. If you come out of the British system, you must finish all the way up to A-level. Therefore, you have direct entry. So meaning you don't have to do foundation year. And believe me, staying an extra year in the school that you know and in the system you know and at home is a lot easier than doing a foundation year. So do I need to do the German course exam if you're a German national? Yes, if you have a German passport and you don't have a German Abitur, then you still have to sit the German exam. we have those cases every year, a few as well. Yeah, so it's not the passport that decides if you have to do the German exam, it is the school exam. The university I'm looking at says it requires test AS. What is that? Yes, a lot of the universities, it's very rarely mandatory that you have to take the AS, but it gives you additional points. That is, the test RS is an ability test or an aptitude test for logical thinking. It just shows the universities that you can solve problems. You can do that test in our school as well. We run that every 6 to 8 weeks. You can easily prepare for it. Everybody that is able to finish school can also sit the test AS. Yeah, it's just, as I said, logical thinking questions. So, for example, you have a question: 2 people need 2 days to build 1 kilometer of road. How long would it take if you have 4 people? Yeah, it's just logical transfer questions, nothing spectacular. For September intake to German language course, when you should start the application process. Okay. For the language course, there is really no deadline. The critical point is the admission letter. You can only come to Germany if you have the admission to a German university. So we have a cooperation with some German universities where we can get the admission letters the whole year round within 2 weeks. So as soon as you are finished with your school and you have your certificate, we can get you the admission letter. Then you can apply for the visa and then you can come to Germany. So if you are planning to come to Germany in September, you would need to apply for the visa around July, which means that would only work if you have your certificate by June. If you only get your certificate in August, for example, for the A-levels, then you would only come later to Germany. Yeah? Then you come in October or November, which is not a problem because you will still be able to finish your German course by the following July to then start your universities. So how many marks do we need for A-levels to be eligible and IGCE? Okay. The IGCE is O-levels. That doesn't account for anything, unfortunately, which means you must complete your A-levels. Again, you only need to have the 4 subjects: maths, science, language, plus another subjects. The grades are not important. Yeah, you just need to pass. An interesting question: can I attend high school in Germany to get a German Abitur? In theory, yeah. In practice, that's very difficult. The German Abitur is a period of 2 years. So all the work you do in 2 years is taken into consideration for the grade of the Abitur. It's not just one final exam like you have. So everything for the last 2 years gets taken into account. No school, however, would be prepared to take you for just the last 2 years because they know that you won't have a chance if you're not used to the system to get good grades, which means you have to do at least 3 years in school. And of course, before you can start secondary school, you also have to learn German, which means you have a 4-year period that you need to calculate. And I assume that you are, in grade 10 or 11 already. If you're in grade 7 or 8, then you can't travel alone. So realistically, that won't really work. Does IELTS count as a language course? No, IELTS doesn't count as a language course, unfortunately. It has to be the AS from Cambridge or Edexcel or in your school. Yeah, so you cannot compensate that with any other language exam. What are the necessary things if I want to get into Ivy League college like T? Okay, that is a good point now. A lot of people mistakenly think that the big universities, which are well known, are the better universities. That's not the case. They are only bigger and they are well known. They are only well known because there are so many students there. If you have a university like the TU Munich with 50,000 students and everybody talks about it, then a lot of people around the world know about that university. Whereas if I give you a small university like Bochum or Zwickau, where they only have 5,000 students, then they are not so well known. But that does not make one or the other better. Quite the opposite. As a foreign student, you will find it a lot easier in a small or medium-sized university as opposed to a really, really big one. The entry criteria is the same for all of them. If you have your A-levels or your foundation year, and if you pass your German, then you can go wherever you want. It is no more difficult to go to Munich or to Bochum or to Leipzig or to Jena or wherever. It is all the same, okay? Every year, of course, we have a lot of students that want to go to one of these big universities. And most of them come back to us after the first semester there and cry for help. Yeah, please, ma'am, help me to change the university. I'm so unhappy there. Now, in these big universities, you sit in lecture halls with 500 people. The professors talk to you through a microphone. You have no contact, no eye contact. They don't care if you understand or not. Whereas if you're in a smaller university with only 50 people, they can see very well if you are able to follow them or not. And they just take you out afterwards, one quick word of explanation, and you're fully on track again. So very often the medium-sized, the smaller ones are the better universities, yeah, for you. At the end of the day, when you're looking for a job in Germany, nobody will ask for the name of the university. They are looking for two things. Can you speak German and do you have good grades? That's the only thing that counts, yeah? No company will ask for where did you get your degree. Totally irrelevant in Germany. I understand that in other countries this is different and that you go by the reputation. If you want to go there, no problem, okay? So what else do we have there? Somebody has 1,300 points in SAT. Do you skip the foundation year? No, unfortunately not. 4 years back, if you had 1,360 points, then you could skip the foundation year. That is unfortunately not possible anymore because the SATs are not accepted as a university entrance in Germany anymore. Why that is? There's different opinions about it, and I don't want to go into politics now. I'm just telling you the rules and we just have to accept them. Unfortunately, not accepted. So you still have to do the foundation year. What marks do universities look for and what is the pass university, ABC? And what attracts universities in students? Okay, so what marks do they look for? If you have the A-levels, totally irrelevant. Yeah, you just need to pass. For the Indian curriculum, the universities only need a minimum of 50%, which is a lot lower than what the embassy is looking for. So that will not be the problem. You will get your admission. What is a pass to university? I can only guess what you mean there. The way into university, maybe. That is either the language for A-levels or the language and the foundation year for Indian curriculum, for example, okay? What attracts universities in students? I'm not quite sure what you're trying to get there, sorry. Okay, somebody, in my opinion, what's the best university for engineering? I wouldn't even dare to tell you, yeah? This is something that you need to explore yourself. You need to be happy in a place. You need to feel comfortable in a place. And then, of course, it depends what engineering you want to do, yeah? There are electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, material engineering, precision engineering. They are all different, okay? So take the opportunity, go to these places, sit into lectures, get a feeling for a city, and also look at the industry around it, which is very important, okay? When can I start learning German? You are in year 10. You can obviously start learning German anytime. You can find a school in Dubai that does it on the weekend or 2 times in the week in the evening. The online courses that we have, they are very intense. That will not work parallel to school because we do a full 30 hours per week, the same way as what we do when you come here. So that won't really work, yeah? Do not make the mistake focusing on German too much and neglecting your school. I had that case once and it was so sad. There was a student who also wanted to start learning German. He started and he really liked it and he spent all his time learning German and he was wonderful. He managed to get full points in A2 level, but he failed his A levels. So that didn't really help us then. Yeah. So first priority is school now. If you want to get a feeling for it, get a course locally that is either on a Saturday or, as I said, 1 or 2 times in the evening. My chances will be higher if I get A stars in my A-level study to study medicine. Yes, of course. Yeah. For medicine, the higher the grade, the higher the chances. So if you have A stars in your A-level, then you'll definitely get a place. Yes. Is A-level German substitute for the German course? Unfortunately not, because the A-level exam that you will be taking in school is not a C1 level. Vivian, you are the one who is obviously some German influence there. Maybe we can just set up another meeting sometime and I talk to you about it in German and I see what level you have. Is the American curriculum school certificate still accepted? Yes and no. It is not accepted to all universities, but is accepted in most universities again. There was a short period of time where it was hardly accepted anywhere, but it has gotten better again. So you won't have the full choice like the others of all universities, but it's definitely 60 to 70% of the universities that accept the American curriculum again. So there is no problem. I mean, Miss, what do universities look for in students and what is a pass grade to university? Okay, good. Okay, so what do universities look for? Nothing really, yeah. As long as you pass your exams, they are happy to take you. The universities are desperate for everybody. The German universities get paid by the government based on the number of students that are enrolled. So as long as you qualify and as long as you fulfill the criteria, they will of course take you. I mean, why wouldn't they? Yeah? They get money for it from the government and they are happy if they have more students, because if they don't have enough students for certain subjects, they may not be able to run those courses. What advice will you give a student who wishes to work in the medicine industry? Not sure if you like to hear that now. Working in the medicine industry in Germany, you will have a much better lifestyle and a much higher salary if you study something like biotechnology, biomedical, medical engineering, or any of those subjects, as opposed to medicine. The doctors are not that well paid here in Germany as long as you are working as a doctor somewhere. Of course, if you take the step to open up your own surgery as a whatever specialist in orthopedics or something, then yes, of course, you can earn good money. But if you are talking about working, every engineer in a pharmaceutical industry earns a lot more money than a doctor in any hospital. You have no night shift, you have no weekend, no weekend work. It's easy to get part-time. So if you are just interested in working in the medical area, then my personal recommendation is do something else than medicine. Computer science, you'll find plenty of jobs, no problem at all. Yeah, computer science is at the beginning together with electrical engineering because the basics are the same. Later on, you specialize. All of the engineering you'll find everywhere, no problem. What is it like for future as a footballer? If you find somebody that discovers you and you get taken into Bayern Munich, then maybe you have a good future there. I don't really know. Do we need any out of school activities, voluntary work? Okay, if you want to study medicine, then voluntary work in the social sector, be that an orphanage or the Red Cross or an old age pension home or something, can get you extra points to qualify for medicine, yeah, but it's only a small small percentage that is taken into account, okay? So somebody took German and has an A1 certificate, perfect. If you have an A1 already, then of course you don't need to do it anymore, yeah? We'll check that quickly. If you have the A1, then you can start straight away with A2, no problem. If we want, are there any prospects for architecture in Germany? Yeah, same thing. Architecture is an engineering subject, so no problem at all. Is there any course that I need to do if I want to be a car designer in Germany? Yeah, you can study that as well. The general recommendation is study something general initially. Do mechanical engineering or material engineering or precision engineering, something general as your bachelor, and then later you specialize. The German companies prefer to have people with a broad general knowledge as opposed to very narrow knowledge. Yeah, it's a lot easier than for you to find a job. If we study medicine, you don't advise in Germany like a doctor. And yeah, you asked me for my personal opinion. If you are a doctor by heart, by profession, of course you can have a good life. Yeah, I'm just telling you that your lifestyle will be a lot better if you don't work as a doctor. My best friend is a doctor as well. Yeah, when in the summer I go with my 4 girls to the swimming pool, and he has to work. Happens, yeah. Okay, I have to work now. He's at home now, but it depends, yeah. To organize your family life when kids are at school, which are Monday to Friday in Germany, it's a lot easier if you don't work as a doctor. Of course, there are people who are a doctor by passion, yeah, and they would not be happy in any other area. Then go for it, yeah. It depends. If you want to get rich, then don't do it. Do you have online? Yes, we have A2 online courses as well, the same way as we have A2 and A1, but they are fully intensive courses, yeah, which means you can only do that when you are finished with your school, because it's 30 hours a week. So earlier on, somebody had asked me for my email, so I will now try to send the email and see if this works for you here. If not, you can always contact Lena and hopefully she'll give it to you, but we try this now. Yeah, I think it worked. It's Annette, my first name, at ISL -sprachschule.de. So that's your German word of the day. Sprachschule basically stands for language school, because your first step is to learn the language, okay? If we work in biotech and genetic engineering, will we get a high payment? Yes, absolutely. One of the best paid areas. Yeah, you can take the 40,000 and add another 15 easily as a starting salary. Is it possible to download this PowerPoint? I need to ask Lena and see if that's allowed. Not too sure. Ah, yes, you're recording it. Exactly, perfect. So then you have the slides there as well. Okay. Yes, you will certainly earn more than a doctor if you work in the biotech area, most certainly, at least in Germany. If you leave the country again, that's different. But as long as you're staying here, all of the engineers have a lot more than any doctor. Sorry. Okay, good. Okay, good. Perfect. Lena's explaining all of the things with the recording. Wonderful. Okay. So, can I get a visa for my parents once I join a job? That's the important thing. Yes. Once you have a job, then of course you can bring family, because then you can support family. Okay. When you are still studying and you have no income, then you won't be able to bring anybody. Space industry is also there. Yes, there are 2 or 3 universities where you can actually study something in the space area. Yeah, be that design of the rockets, or yeah, a lot of the astronauts do astrophysics and stuff like that. So there is a lot there. Is it good there? Of course it's good there. And of course it has a high payment. It all depends on how hard you work yourself into the career ladder later. Yeah. My mother works as a civil engineer in Dubai. She's willing to learn German to hopefully move to Germany. How can she start? If you are qualified already as an engineer and you want to come on a work visa, you need to come with a B2 level. So she needs to be able to get that in Dubai somehow, okay? Or maybe you can just send me an email about that and then we can talk about it, because that's not really part of the presentation now. Okay, so I think I managed to cover all the questions that were there. I was very happy to have all of you there. And I was very happy to get so many questions. I think it's a lot nicer to be interactive and to be able to answer your questions rather than me just talking to you about what I think you want to know. If something else comes to your mind, and you know, that's always like that, now everything seems clear when you start thinking about it, you have the questions, don't hesitate, send me an email, you will get an answer, okay? It may not be in the next half an hour, but certainly the next day. Which means I would like to say thank you to Lena for organizing it. Thank you to all of you for attending on a Tuesday evening. Lara, gute Nacht. Thank you. I hope you will enjoy the evening and have a good day in school tomorrow. And yeah, then for you, the week is almost over already. I know. Okay.